phone's been ringing off the hook. I've been having a lot of calls, a lot of meetings with people. And I just think it's very important that people understand that there's always an angle. And what I want to do to start off today is I actually want to draw your attention to a video that I filmed for my company almost a year ago. And I actually forwarded the video link from my YouTube page to a website that you can actually go and directly access. And it was just a domain that I had that I wasn't using, and it's Wednesday with Wes. And if you go to Wednesday with Wes, you can see this video. And I want to start off today with a few highlights of that video and things that I predicted almost a year ago that have now happened and are going to continue to happen. And so I want to point out a couple of points to that video. You should start watching at about the 3.5 minute mark. So if you watch from the 3.5 minute mark to the 39 minute mark, so it's 36 minutes of your life that you won't get back, but I think it'll be well worth your time because I literally predicted everything that has happened in the industry in the last couple of weeks. And it started happening a couple months ago with one of the companies that I referenced in this video almost a year ago. But the video was filmed on August 10th, 2024. And it was coming on the heels of Rodan and Fields terminating their distributors and going to a affiliate model where they no longer were paying network marketing commissions, no longer paying team commissions, and everybody was blindsided. They didn't know it was coming. This is a company that did billions of dollars in revenue over the years, massive company, and they filed bankruptcy, or were about to. And in order to not file bankruptcy, to get the money that they needed to stay in business, that was one of the requirements of the bank. And so you're going to hear stories about why Modere filed bankruptcy. And there's obviously a lot of news still happening because of this, because everybody was caught off guard. But you shouldn't have been. And they shouldn't have been, because the writing was on the wall. A lot of these product-based companies are facing the challenges that I talked about in August of last year. Same challenges that Rodan and Fields was facing last year. It's just that Modere weathered the storm longer and was able to navigate through some of the recessionary issues that were happening, but just no longer could keep up. And I think there's going to be many more product-based companies that this is going to happen. And so I want to point out just a few points in this video. If you want to just hit these highlights, this is going to be some of what I talk about tonight and share with you. And I am recording this, so it is going to be saved online, and this will be posted on my Instagram page. But the important stuff starts at the 3.5 minute mark, and then you see at the 11 minute mark, you'll start to see my predictions about the product-based industry and what's going to happen. And then at about the 12 minute mark, 12.5 minute mark, I get into that explanation and I talk about what's going to cause it. Inflation, pricing pressures, increased competition from Shein and Temu in China and TikTok, and influencers creating their own brand. Because when an influencer creates a cheap skincare or cosmetic line that all of these millennials and even the generation after are buying things from TikTok and Shein and TikTok Shop, and also Sephora, MLMs and direct sales companies have not been able to keep up with the pricing pressure and the margins. And so I talk about that through there. And then I get into churn and retention, which is going to be very important for what we talk about tonight, because I have been doing this now for almost 30 years. And I have solved the retention problem that all of these companies face. Nobody else has been able to do it before. Billions of dollars, companies that are doing billions, they still can't solve it. In fact, I talk about Herbalife's customer retention, and it's advertised because they're public, being around 16%. And I talk about that on the video at about the 21-minute mark. So I go through and talk about how Herbalife is a multi-billion-dollar company, the biggest in the industry, or one of the top 2 or 3, depending on the year you're looking at. And I talk about how their customer retention is only 16%. And I go through and I show what that means their monthly churn is. And I talk about churn, and that's going to be really important for what we talk about tonight, because in that video, I show my company, which I launched last year. I showed what we were trending at in our first 90 days. Okay. And that's going to be very important when I talk about how we've solved this churn issue and real retention. But I wanted you to see, if you don't have time to watch the entire 36 minutes, I also talk about the myth of residual income and mailbox money. I talk about that at the 32-minute mark. And we're going to talk about that some tonight, because a lot of companies brag about mailbox money. They brag about residual income. But even at World Ventures, my previous company that I co-founded, we didn't pay residual out until people had 60 customers. They had to be 30-30, having a total of 60 customers before they earned any residual. And that first level of residual was less than $200. So 60 customers to have $200 in residual income. And that's really starting to be commonplace in the industry. And I'm going to talk about some of the other issues with comp plans in just a little bit as we get into this. But I would encourage you to go back and watch it. Like I said, I parked that video at wednesdaywithwes.com, and you can go watch it there, and you can see these minute marks, or you can watch from about the 3.5 to 39 minutes, and you'll see my predictions that have now started to happen. So we're going to move into that. And I want to give everybody my bio really quick, because some of you that are following me may know, but even some of you that are following me may not know my background, because the way I was able to solve this retention issue in the industry comes because of the different experiences that I've had. So I started in the direct sales industry back in 1997. I started working with Vector Marketing, Cutco Cutlery, back in 1997. I broke tons and tons of records there. At the time, I was the youngest ever promoted division manager in that company. They moved me to Florida. I ran the whole state of Florida. When I left, my territory had grown so much that they split it in half, and half of what my old territory was wound up being the top territory in the company for like the next almost decade. So a massive amount of success there. But while I was with Cutco, I started a student travel company because in college, I had sold student travel in order to pay for my spring break trips. I promoted spring break. I promoted ski trips and winter break. And that was the only way I could afford to travel. I didn't even get on a plane until I got to college. And then I got to study abroad in Costa Rica in 1998. And that allowed me to go to a different country, meet incredible people, fall in love with the travel industry. So I started a student travel company in 2001 that was the first student tour operator to take groups of students to Costa Rica. And so that went very well. But I wasn't making the kind of money I was used to making in the direct sales industry. But I loved travel, and I was passionate about travel, and I was really good at negotiating travel. So in 2004, I met who became my future partners at World Ventures, and they introduced me to travel and network marketing. Now, at the time, travel and network marketing was just become a travel agent. Travel like a travel agent, get travel agent discounts, and you can be a travel agent. The problem was travel agents were already dying. That was the beginning of internet travel. And so there was no money in it. There was no margins. The travel agent discounts were going away. People that are trying to be travel agents, there's no money in it. Everybody can book their own travel now. Now you've got AI searching for travel. So people are booking their own travel and handling their own arrangements. So we, in 2005, decided to start a company called World Ventures. So there were four of us that started the company. We launched in 2005. And over the next 13 years that I was there, we did over $4 billion in revenue. Our best year, we did almost $1 billion in revenue. And one of the things that I want to point out is that at the time, we had one of the best retentions in the history of the industry in network marketing or subscription-based MLMs. And we were obviously service-based, so we were not a product-based company. In fact, other than Cutco in the direct sales industry, I've never represented a physical product-based network marketing company. I've always been in service, and I'm going to talk about why that's important in just a minute. But our best year of retention was around 17% retention. Now, at the time, the DSA, which is the Direct Selling Association, they used to publish a list, and they talked about what the average retentions were like in the direct sales industry. And most product-based companies, because there were very few service-based back then, were in the high single digits in their annual customer retention. And this is very important because they were, in the 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and at World Ventures, we were around 17. So we were almost double what the product-based companies that we were competing against for distributors, because we weren't competing in the products category with them. We were competing for reps. And so we were able to grow faster than most of those companies. In fact, we were the fastest growing direct sales company in the world in like 2014, 15, and 16. Like 3 of those 4 years, we were the fastest growing company on the DSN Top 100, the Direct Selling News. They put out this Top 100 list. And so we were growing like crazy, and we had figured out retention, or so we thought, getting it up to that 17%, which was more than double most other companies. And so that gave us an edge. So we knew what caused the retention to work. And then we had created a loyalty program that was based around points. And then the points became a problem because we couldn't keep up with the growth and the demand for our trips. And if there wasn't a trip that you wanted to go on, because we did group trips, then there wasn't anything for you to book. So people would join and then they wouldn't stick because most of the trips were sold out, and the ones that weren't sold out, we were losing money on. And so the business model was broken. But a lot of people during this time period, back in 2014, 15, and 16, saw what we were doing at World Ventures, and they decided to try to copy what we were doing. There were a lot of travel companies that copied us or tried to. Companies like Paycation, companies like MWR, who's been around for about a decade. They tried to copy our Dream Trips model too. There were companies like iBoomerang who tried unsuccessfully to copy it. There were people that left World Ventures around the time that I resigned at the end of 2017, the first part of 2018. And I have an entire video on my YouTube channel, which you can link to at that Wednesday with Wes. And you can go watch the entire real true story about what happened to World Ventures, what the truth was, and when I saw it, and how I resigned. All of that is there. I'm not getting into that today. You can go watch that video if you want to know the whole story. But the reason I bring this up is because we were doing really good with 17.5% retention. Well, the history of the direct sales industry became a problem because the direct sales industry started as a way to get products to the consumer cheaper, cut out the middleman. That's why it was called the direct sales industry. So you had companies like Amway and Tupperware and even Mary Kay and other companies that were direct sales companies, a lot of cookware, pots and pans companies, and they would sell direct to consumer. And so when this industry started, that was the business model. It was direct sales. That's why it's called direct sales, because it was buying your products direct from the source and cutting out the overhead or the middleman of a storefront, advertising. If you're going to buy these products, that was Amway's pitch early on. If you're going to buy soap, detergent, household goods, why not buy it from yourself and get it for less? And have your friends buy it from you too, because then they don't have to go to the store and pay the higher prices. I mean, this is where the industry came from historically. And so what happened over time, though, was that the margins changed. And in order to compete for reps and distributors in the service industry, the product-based companies had to continue to mark their products up even more. So you get to a point where a lot of network marketing companies and direct sales companies are having to mark their products up substantially more than a traditional company because they're having to compete with service-based companies that do not have the traditional overhead of manufacturing a product, paying scientists, doing research and development, having all of the expenses of storing products, expired products, changing ingredients, changes in regulation, import, export. I mean, I could go on and on about the nightmares around having a product-based company and how that has been exacerbated with inflation. So inflation has not only affected the price of raw ingredients, okay, the core components of these physical products, but also because most of them are made outside of the US, and the non-FDA approved cheap stuff that you can get on Shein and Temu and TikTok Shop, that stuff is coming straight from China and other places. And a lot of these companies that are based here in the US are trying to manufacture their products here. They can't compete. And so that's one of the reasons why you're hearing about tariffs and you're hearing about Trump, and it's going to be in the news. It's not going anywhere, is because of what I'm talking about. So it's not just the car manufacturers and our old, industry, our old blue collar industry, that all those jobs have left and gone to China. It started to happen with all of these, skincare and wellness and peptides and all of the stuff that you're seeing online and you're seeing in your Instagram feed and you're seeing on TikTok. All this stuff is getting made everywhere else for a lot cheaper. And historical network marketing companies, direct sales companies that never had to face competition from the Kardashians and from influencers launching their own brands and having a massive following and selling millions of products. I mean, and I just saw, you can go check this out. I just saw that Hailey Bieber's wellness line is in talks to be sold for $1 billion. I mean, this is a 3-year-old or 4-year-old company, and it's just because of the eyeballs and the influencers. And so the traditional MLM companies that are making products, and I predicted all of this last year because I told everyone Rodan and Fields was just the beginning. There's going to be much more of this. They can't compete on the historic models. So when you see a network marketing company, they do what's called MLM math if they're a product company. They're going to be doing BV, CV, BBV because they have to hide the margins behind wholesaling and retailing and what you can buy the products for yourself and then what you're required to buy or what you're required to sell. All of this is in the formula. And then when you look at what the markup has to be in order to make money, you'll see that they can't compete with the stuff that's on TikTok Shop, that's on Instagram, that's in Sephora. So it's way more expensive and the ingredients aren't better. They'll always tell you, oh, well, our ingredients are better. It's made in the USA. It's better for you. But none of these products, by the way, are FDA approved. They're all supplements. They all have to give disclaimers whenever they show them or whenever they sell them. And they can't make any health claims. They have to have disclaimers. Anybody that's making health claims on their products, you should run as far and as fast away as possible. Because if the company ever does get any traction or growth and they're making health claims, they're going to get shut down by the FTC faster than you can blink your eyes if they get growth. But then you have to know and understand that the FTC is a self-funded agency, and they make their money from the fines that they levy and the seizures that they collect from when they close companies down and shut them down. And so then if you don't ever make any money or you don't get any real growth, they're never going to look at you because they don't care. You could call the FTC and complain about something that you took, that you got from Shein or TikTok or from another company, and they're not going to care. They're not going to go investigate it because unless they can go seize millions and levy fines of millions. See, Herbalife's already been through this. Herbalife went through this. You can go read the FTC fines and settlements with Herbalife and read the hundreds, not millions, hundreds of millions of dollars in settlements that Herbalife had to pay for their bonus buying. I talked about this in the video back in August, okay? And these companies that are startups, they'll never get to that point. They're never going to be Herbalife. They could never, the FTC could never collect that kind of revenue, so they're not going to go after them. They don't care about your complaints. They don't care that your kid bought something off of TikTok Shop or off of Shein, and now they're breaking out and it's messed up their skin. Nobody cares. They'll just change it. They'll put a label on it. They'll change it to something else. So then you have these companies that are mostly based here in the U.S., that are product-based companies, and they're trying to compete with cheap labor from out of the country. They're trying to compete with influencers. They're trying to compete on price, and they're trying to compete with service-based MLMs for distributors in terms of compensation, because the people that are in the service-based industry are making way more money in compensation because the comp plans can pay out more because they don't have to produce a physical product. They don't have to manufacture anything. They don't have warehouses. They don't have a physical office. They don't have physical storage. They don't have expired products. They don't have to deal with, the FDA and requirements and disclosures, and they don't have to pay scientists, and they don't have to do R&D. So these are the three categories, okay, of businesses in the space. There's two categories, and then one has some subcategories. So you either have physical products, which is obviously Rodan and Fields and Beauty Control and these other companies, Advocare, that have terminated their distributors and have gone out of business or completely eliminated MLM, now Modere, okay? And then you have service-based. Service-based has different components, and that's where you've seen a lot of the crypto scammy stuff that's gone on over the course of the last 5-6 years, trading things, bots. I mean, and here's the thing that I'll tell you, okay? Trading bots are illegal, okay? And that's one of the reasons why a lot of these companies that are promoting Forex trading and crypto trading are doing business offshore. None of them are based in the US. None of their programs that are like that are available for the US. There's no regulated brokers for the US. So when you see all of this stuff, it should be a red flag for you, okay? And you should understand that there's a reason why it's not regulated here. And one of the reasons why these companies are all offshore, why they're not doing business in the US. So inside of service, you've got service-based companies. You've got some good ones. You've got companies that have done, electricity. You've got companies that have done prepaid legal services and things like that, service-based companies that have been around and do good business. But at the end of the day, it also comes down to this question of retention. When you have a service-based company, it's about retaining your members. It's about retaining your customers. Well, I have the background and knowing what the true retention is for a trading-based education company, because I came into a company after COVID as a consultant to build a travel vertical and got an opportunity to see from the inside what the customer retention was like on trading. And here is what I want to tell you, because today, the rest of the top leaders from that company have now resigned and are moving to a company that literally copied exactly the other company. So very crazy, in my opinion, to leave one sinking ship, one problematic company, and then go to another company that does the exact same thing, okay? That's a whole nother conversation. But what I'll tell you is that trading as a service for MLM is flawed. And I talked about this with proof and documentation in the video on August 10th last year. Okay, because here's the problem. If you sell trading as an education or as a service, first of all, if somebody has success, they don't feel like they need the education because they've already learned it. So they've already got the education. So those people quit. All right. Then the people who come in and don't get it, who lose money or never trade, they quit also. So what I didn't know until I was a consultant and learned the inside was that they lose 80% of their customers in the first 60 days. So in the first 60 days, they've already lost 80% of their customers. And so when I created a travel vertical, which was very basic, but had some concepts and ideas that I felt like were improvements from the World Ventures business model, the retention that I was able to get inside of that platform was 500% better than all of the trading and educational products and services that they were selling. Okay. And I saw that immediately. And so I knew it would work. But the problem is that I needed to continue investing into the technology and build something unique and proprietary. Because all of those companies that copied World Ventures and that have launched travel programs, and here is how you'll know, is because all they have is a travel website. That's it. Almost no one has an app, okay? They're all using one of 3 different vendors, okay? The vendors will sell it to you off the street, so you could go and get, for a few dollars a user, a white label, out-of-the-box travel booking site. But here's what I'll tell you, because I've used them all. I know them all. I understand the platform. I've been doing this longer than anybody. If you are getting a travel website, a travel program in the direct sales industry, okay, they are selling you something that everyone else can get. You can get it anywhere. Nobody has exclusivity. Nobody has anything unique. Nobody owns their own tech. Okay, my company, Bright Life, is the first to ever build its own technology, and it's not just travel. See, that's what I had to figure out. We had to do something that wasn't just travel so that we could insulate ourselves from anything that may happen necessarily in travel, like COVID or anything else. And so we've built our company on multiple pillars that are all software driven and centered around travel, but it's not just a travel booking website. All of those other companies, and you're going to be hearing about people leaving these other companies and going to travel, and you're going to hear people that say, we have travel. But what that means is they only have a travel website. That's it. And all it is just a travel website. And you can generally get those prices a lot of different places, okay? We have been building this tech now for almost 2 years, and we launched with version 1.0 in May of 2024 and immediately added additional services, entertainment, golf, access to 250 private country clubs, dining, and social clubs in North America, plus an additional 500 golf courses outside of North America with preferred green fees and preferred tee times with an Arnold Palmer company, okay? Nobody else has that. And people are paying more just to have access to that on top of their country club membership. We are the only non-country club that even gives its members access to this network of 250 country clubs. That's just one of our benefits, okay? And it's inside of our tech. It's inside of our technology. You can book your tee times inside the tech. Then we've partnered with music festivals. We partnered with the largest country music festival in Miami back in November, and our members got tickets for 75% off, VIP, open bar, side stage reserved seating right next to the stage. Plus, they got backstage tours at the event where all of the artists were. We're doing things that have never been done. And that was the evolution of what I built back in 2005 for World Ventures, because nobody was getting the access that I was getting. The top leaders in World Ventures, we were getting access, but we were paying for it. We were doing it on our own. The company wasn't getting it. None of the dream trips were giving people that kind of VIP experience or access. And so what we've built is a software that is giving people VIP access. It's giving them travel benefits that are legitimate, that are unique and proprietary. When we launch version 2.0 at our 1-year anniversary party in Vegas next month, we will have over 3 million hotels, resorts, and condos and villas. And we're developing our own short-term rental platform that will allow people to put their Airbnb and VRBO properties into the Bright Life platform, and they'll show up right alongside all of the other hotels. And there will be a way for you to earn commissions on those bookings and earn commissions off of houses or owners that you get onto our platform. That's coming later this year. So we are building a real piece of technology, but here's the kicker. Our quest is to help people cross things off their bucket list. So what we did is we built the best customer loyalty program in the history of the travel industry. Some hotels have points. Some airlines have miles. The Capital One card brags about 2% cash back. 2%? You have to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to get 2% cash back to make it worth your while. And so with our loyalty program, we are literally giving people a 5-star hotel stay to one of their top 10 bucket list destinations every year for free for them and a guest. So literally their bucket list is their landing page on our app. It's their very own travel vision board. And so what we've done, and you can go back and watch my video from August 10th, is we were on track to have over 30% annual retention in our first 12 months. And that is before anyone has taken one of these bucket list trips. I predicted this in August. I showed our real sign-up numbers. I showed our real retention numbers. I showed how many people joined, how many people canceled month over month. And I showed that after about 5 months, we were trending to where if we kept churn where it was, we would be over 30% annual retention. But I was wrong, because there is a delta that we have created in our program that once a member gets to a certain month, they don't cancel because they paid their membership fee up until that point. So they're like, well, now I've paid up until that point, so I'm going to keep paying so that I get my bucket list trip. I want to cross these places off. I want to go to the Le Méridien in the Maldives and stay in an overwater bungalow. We've already given away dozens of those trips. We've given away dozens of trips to the Palazzo Versace Hotel in Dubai, which is one of the most famous hotels in the world, one of only 2 Versace hotels in the world. So this is not a timeshare giveaway. A lot of companies have seen what I did at my other program at TLX, and they tried to copy it, and they're giving people an annual trip, and it's on a Carnival cruise ship that's 20 years old, and you have to pay all the port fees and taxes, or you have to go on a timeshare presentation, and it's in a condo that's a 3-star at best. Nobody is doing what we've done. No one in the history of the travel industry. So we have the best loyalty program in the history of the travel industry. And then we have the best customer appreciation program. And they don't even have to be a rep. They can refer 2 members to our program, and we'll give them their membership for free, which gives them all the value. And I haven't even gone through it tonight, but it gives them that free bucket list trip every year. And so that bucket list trip now is the hook. And so we have hundreds of members who have made the 2 referrals and are going to get their bucket list trips crossed off every year for free because they've referred just 2 people. So I was wrong, because now next month is our 1-year anniversary, and we are going to be over 45% annual retention. That's almost 400% better than Herbalife in our first year, before anybody's even taken one of these trips. Now, when you get to our members that joined after we added golf, after we added the foundation room with House of Blues around the country, which is normally a $3,500 per location membership fee, and our members get that included in their membership, and all of the other benefits that I haven't even talked to about you to not talk to you with tonight, is literally more value than you could ever even imagine. And they're getting it for free with just 2 referrals. So now those members that have seen a full year worth of our membership ads, and we're going to be launching many more membership partnerships and benefits next month in Las Vegas, we are on track to have over 60% annual retention of our members that joined after our first 90 days. That's where the numbers are. And if anybody wants to see them, shoot me a message. If you're a leader in another company, I'll fly you in. I will show you in person. I will take you through all the numbers. Nobody else in this space will show you their sales numbers, and show you their retention numbers, because I promise you, if they show you, you would run. All these people that left this company today that I built the travel vertical for, they joined another company that all they did was copy the original. And I guarantee you, if they asked to look at the company's sales numbers, but to also look at the retention numbers, they would never have joined, because the retention numbers at that company are just as bad as they were at the company that they all just resigned from and left. It's just a matter of time until everybody figures this out. But the thing is that I figured it out over a year ago. I told everybody about it in August of 2024, and now it's happened. Now the predictions that I literally told you, go to the website, Wednesday with Wes, you will see the predictions, and I will show anybody who wants to see them the retention numbers. So we have built not a myth of mailbox money, but we have people that are earning residual in their first week, in their first month, in their first 2 months. The difference with our residual, it's not going away because our members are not canceling. They're staying because our goal is to help you cross everything off of your bucket list. And so all these other companies that are showing you a travel website, they don't know what's on your bucket list. They're not giving you a free 5-star trip every year. They're giving you a website that they could sell to anybody else, that they're getting from one of 3 sources. They didn't build it. They don't own it. They may have designed the layout and the skin on it and put their logo on it, but there is nothing unique about it. We are the only ones in the direct sales industry that own our own software, that own our own technology, and version 2.0 is going live in Vegas in a month, 1 month exactly. So when you see what we've done already with what we launched in May of 2024 that took us almost a year to build before we launched it, all these other companies, they just launched right away. You know, there were companies that launched at the same time we did a year ago because they were coming out of another failed company, Transact Card, and they tried to launch with a travel booking website. People are not going to continue to pay for a travel booking website. There is not enough value. It is not a value proposition where people are going to stay. It's going to be a hamster wheel, just like trading. You're never going to keep them on. People are going to join, yes. And all these leaders that got paid to go to these companies, they made money, but they're already seeing that the sales have slowed down dramatically, because once you get the big pop from the members coming in, and we haven't paid anybody to join. Our comp plan is the easiest in the industry, and I'll wrap up with this. Whoever thought that it was a good idea to have the more ways to get paid, that was the person who ruined the comp plans for the network marketing industry. 7 ways to get paid, 8 ways to get paid, 10 ways to get paid is 7 ways to get confused, 8 ways to get confused, and 10 ways to get confused. You will never recruit non-networkers, the average person, if your comp plan takes a PhD in compensation in order to understand how to get paid. People need to understand how it works, because a confused mind does nothing. Our comp plan is 1 page. We have 1 qualification, 1 left, 1 right. You are fully qualified for $500,000 a month. And then it's just a matter of the size of the company. Nobody can join directly through Bright Life. You have to go through a member. So the bigger we get as a company, and in my previous company, World Ventures, it's documented. We grew to over 3 million members while I was there. My personal team, I had over 365,000 people, one of the biggest teams in the history of the direct sales or network marketing industry that I created myself, all lineage to me, no spillover, nobody put anybody on my team, no leaders were paid to join. It was all built grassroots, word of mouth, that's it. So all of these other people who have taken checks and their teams haven't gotten checks, but the leaders have gotten checks, go back and look at Jeunesse. If you want a blueprint on how to ruin a company and put a company out of business, go look at Jeunesse and look at all the lawsuits. They paid all of the leaders to go there. There wasn't a single leader who went to Jeunesse that didn't get paid. While we were at World Ventures, the one thing I can tell you for sure is that there were no leaders that were ever paid to join. There were 2 different companies that got merged into World Ventures because they were out of business, okay? There were 2 different companies that their companies were in debt, out of business, going out of business, and we let them roll them in. but no one was ever paid. And that is a fact. And that is something that I can stand behind. And that's why we grew like we did, had the retention that we did, because of the culture that we built. We didn't buy leaders. We didn't buy volume. Anybody can buy a leader, buy volume, and get a burst in sales, but nobody's going to stay committed, and the retention will really show up. So I'm telling you, if you're in one of these spaces, whether it's product or service like trading and investing, you need to seriously consider what you're doing and who you're following, because I promise you, you're following somebody who's getting paid if it's a leader that's moving a group or moving a team. So think about what's best for you, not what's best for your leader, because these are the things that I've seen over 30 years of doing this. And if you want to look at what happens to a company that buys leaders, just look at Jeunesse. Okay, they went to over $1 billion in sales by buying leaders, and then filed for bankruptcy a couple of years ago. And so the reason is because as soon as something else pops up and a leader gets offered another check and the sales slow down, and that retention number, which Jeunesse's retention was even worse than the retention at Herbalife, you can't keep up. When new sales stop, the company goes out of business. This is the problem with the industry. If you don't solve your churn problem, if you don't solve retention, you will never last. You will not become a legacy company. And if Herbalife is at 16% and all these trading programs are 3 or 4%, and I have the facts, I know what they are, then they're never going to make it. And so it's really important that you know who you're hooking your wagon to, because if you're just going to a travel booking website, members are not going to stay. Just look at the company that launched when we did last summer with a $50 travel booking website, and now they're basically nowhere to be heard of. Okay, this is serious, because there's a lot of people today that are looking for homes and thinking that, oh, I left one trading company, I'm just going to go to another trading company and it's so much better. There's better leadership. Here's the thing. I hate to say it, but the COO that the company everybody left just hired, just do some research on that person and see if you think that that company is going to make it. And then you look at where they're going. They're like, oh, the leadership is better. The programs are better. The software is better. It doesn't solve the problem. Trading as a product for MLM or direct sales is broken. If they learn how to trade and have success, they don't need it. If they don't learn and they lose money, they quit. So no matter what, everyone quits immediately, usually within 60 days. The average life expectancy of somebody in those programs is about 60 days, and I can document it for you. Okay, so if you have any doubts on anything I'm saying, I will show you everything. So just reach out to me, send me a DM. If you're looking to build real residual, not the myth of mailbox money, which is also in real life terms called a hamster wheel, because you all know you've been told about mailbox money before, but as soon as you stop working, your check goes down, it goes away. And with what we've been able to do at Bright Life, with our retention and what we're pacing on, I think we could be at 75% annual retention, which is 500% better than Herbalife, a multi-billion-dollar company doing almost $10 billion a year in revenue, and we could be 500% better than them. I mean, we are doing something. We have solved a problem that has never been solved in the history of an almost 100-year-old industry. So reach out to me, consider the source. You're going to be getting pitched. If you're part of any of these companies, you're going to be hearing about it. And come to me direct. If you want me to back it up, I'll show it all to you. And if you're looking at these companies, ask to see the numbers. Ask to see the growth numbers. Ask to see the retention numbers. Ask to see the total member count and how many members have joined, but how many have canceled and how fast they cancel. And ask them, what's the average life expectancy of a member? Show me the numbers and proof. Don't tell me, show me, okay? Okay, the facts are what you need to see. If you're considering hooking your wagon to another company or another leader, or you're following somebody, ask the hard questions. Don't just go based on blind faith or the fact that you know them or you know their name or they built a big team somewhere else, because chances are they're getting paid to go and you're not. So they can make the money because they're getting ghost volume or a ghost leg because the comp plans are complicated and they're hard to understand and they're built for the companies to win. And the Bright Life compensation plan is the most lucrative. I'll put it up against anybody. If you want to compare, reach out to me. I'll show you. When we gave it to the coders to program it, I gave them a one-page document and they said, where's the rest of it? The head programmer who's been building comp plans for over 20 years, his first question was, where's the rest of it? And then when I said, that's it, he said, this is the simplest comp plan I've ever seen. And I said, that's exactly why we're going to be $1 billion company. We're paying out more. It's easier to achieve. We have the best loyalty program in the entire travel industry. It blows miles, points, rewards, timeshares, all of that out of the water with our bucket list program. Nobody's doing it. We're doing things that nobody's ever done before, and we own it. It's proprietary, and version 2.0 comes out in a month. So if you wait and you go try one of these other things, you're just going to be a month further from your success, because I truly believe a year from now, we'll be getting everybody. Everybody will continue to see these videos. I recorded this. I put it on my Zoom account. It's going to go onto my YouTube page. So you're going to be able to see this on Instagram. You're going to be able to see it on YouTube. I apologize for, going for 45 minutes. I really wanted to try to keep this to 30, but go to WednesdayWithWes.com to watch the video from August 10th, and you will see all of these predictions. And then you will see that I've even blown myself away with what I predicted in August for Bright Life, because I was predicting 30%. And we're going to be almost 40% better than that, over 40%, maybe even 45% retention, because our 1 year is next month. And that's what we're predicting for this last month of retention. Because once we got past that delta, which had not happened when I made that August 10th video, no one canceled. We lost almost no members once they were about 5 or 6 months in. Nobody canceled, and I'll show it to you. So this is real. It's the only place that it's real. Nobody else in travel has a real technology that they built, that they own, that they control. They're borrowing someone else's. It's just a travel website. None of the other value that we've created. No one has our country club program to be able to play 250 private country clubs and go to private dining and social clubs that cost thousands of dollars, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars to join. Nobody has what we have. So reach out to me, send me a DM. I'm going to try to keep up as fast as possible. Thank you to everybody who listened today. I am going to post this on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Wes Melcher. You'll be able to share this with your teams. Think before you act. Don't just go follow a leader who got paid to go somewhere. Make your own decision, because I promise you, at the end of the day, all of these other myths and stories that I've exposed and uncovered over the last 30 years, and if you want me to document any of it or prove it to you or show it to you, I have all my World Ventures numbers. I have the numbers from the other company that I consulted for. I can show you the numbers. I can show you the retention. It's real here, and we're doing something that has never been done. We've solved the Rubik's Cube of retention, and this is going to be the greatest direct sales / network marketing, because it's really the most non-MLM MLM you've ever seen. No other MLM has been sponsoring music festivals and taking groups to the Kentucky Derby and to Coachella and to the biggest country music festivals in the country, and getting you into most exclusive country clubs like Trump National and several others. I mean, we're doing it, and it's proven, and it's only been a year, and it's only going to get better. Wait until you see 2.0 in Vegas. Nobody has what we have. They can tell you all they want, but we can document it. So thanks for tuning in. Share this with people, because I promise you, you will save them time, because a year from now, they're all going to be coming back to us anyway. I promise you. And this prediction and the things that I just talked about are going to come true, just like my predictions from August 10th, 2024. So go to WednesdayWithWes.com and you can see that video. And I would watch, like I said, a minimum of about the 3-minute mark to 39-minute mark to see the 36 minutes of predictions that have now all come true. So thanks again. God bless everyone. I appreciate your support and look forward to hearing from all of you who really want to do something real and legitimate that's making an impact, and not just travel, sports, music, entertainment, lifestyle, and we're giving back. We've done service projects on every single Bright Life trip we've already done. We've got one planned in Vegas next month. If you want to come to Vegas and see it for yourself, be my guest. Reach out to me, message me. You'll be my guest at our 1-year anniversary party, which is happening at the top of Mandalay Bay at the Foundation Room, which is one of our partners globally. We also have a partnership with Groot Hospitality, No Line, No Cover, Live Nightclub Vegas, Live Nightclub Miami, Live Beach in Vegas. I mean, all the VIP experiences you could ever want, VIP access to country clubs you can't even walk on, you can play as a member of Bright Life. So let me just prove it to you. Reach out to me. I'll show you. You're missing out. You need to get on board. Or you can just wait until next year when these people that I'm talking about that are joining other deals are going to see exactly what I'm talking about, and they're going to find out for themselves.